Imagine this. You're at work, just trying to do your job, when your own manager looks you dead in the eye and says, "Never trust a coloured man in a hoodie." That was my breaking point. I'd kept my cool through years of racist jokes, insults and humiliation. But that day, I snapped. And the revenge I came up with, let's just say, it made him storm out of the room, red-faced, furious, and humiliated in front of everyone. If you've ever dealt with disrespect, if you've ever been underestimated or treated unfairly, hit that like button and subscribe, because this is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. I grew up in Wales. I moved there when I was just 5 years old, a black British kid, learning the language, the culture, trying to fit in. At that age, I didn't even know what racism was. But slowly, I started to notice it. The stares. The way some people treated me differently. By the time I started my apprenticeship as an HGV mechanic, it was everywhere. Casual racism from tutors, jokes from other students, even work colleagues who thought it was banter. And me? I kept my cool. Always. I wasn't about to throw punches or lose my job over ignorance. I tried to address things calmly when I could, or ignore them. But here's the thing about disrespect: no matter how strong you are, it wears you down, drop by drop, until one day the bucket overflows. In my 4th year, the dealership brought in a new manager. And from the moment he walked in, I could feel it. The energy, that look, that tone. If you're a person of colour, or any minority, you know exactly what I mean. That fake politeness, that way of speaking to you that isn't quite the same as how they speak to everyone else. It started small. He'd pat my afro, uninvited, like I was some kind of exhibit at a zoo. He mocked my African name. "You need to go talk to your mother about that name," he sneered. One day, he looked me dead in the face and joked about making smoke signals to communicate with my African friends. The supervisor laughed. I stood there, stone-faced, every muscle in my body tight, refusing to give him the reaction he wanted. But he wasn't done. He escalated. In front of the whole canteen, during break, he said black people shouldn't be allowed in college or university because we had low IQs. The room fell silent, except for a few nervous chuckles. And I just sat there, swallowing my rage like poison. Then came the final straw. I was standing at the parts counter one cold morning, hoodie on. He thought the supervisor was around the corner, and he said, "Never trust a coloured man with a hoodie on." It hit me like a slap. My hands trembled. My chest felt tight. I couldn't focus on work for days. I was furious. I was broken. And I was done letting this man disrespect me. Now, some of you might ask, why not report him? Simple. HR in that company was useless. They didn't take bullying complaints seriously. Racism? Forget it. I'd seen others try and get brushed off. So I knew if I wanted justice, I had to deliver it myself. Not with violence, not with shouting, but with something that would hit him where it hurt his pride. See, this manager had a little side hustle. He'd bulk buy snacks and drinks, crisps, chocolate bars, cans of pop, and sell them to us for 50p or £1. He claimed it was to fund Christmas parties, but really it gave him this sense of control. And there was one rule: pay only with 50p or 1 coins. I remembered one mechanic once tried to pay him in coppers and got absolutely torn apart for it. The manager humiliated him in front of everyone. So after that hoodie comment, I got an idea. A petty, perfect idea. I went home, grabbed all my loose change, sat at the table for hours counting it out 1 ep twop coins, £4 worth, a mountain of copper, and the next day I was ready. Morning break came. I strolled up, calm as ever, grabbed a few snacks and a drink, and when it came time to pay, I pulled out that pile of coins, dozens upon dozens of pennies stacked neatly on the counter. "Here you go," I said, staring him straight in the eye. He froze. His jaw tightened. His face turned red, but he took it. And I walked away, my heart pounding, waiting for the explosion. It didn't take long. At 10 a.m., he stormed into the canteen, face twisted with rage. "Who did this?" he barked. I raised my hand, calm, proud, smiling just enough. It was me. The room went silent. He started shouting, calling us ungrateful, saying, "I'm not doing this anymore. You lot don't appreciate it." Then he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. And I sat there with the biggest grin on my face. For the first time in months, I felt in control. Of course, my supervisor wasn't happy. He pulled me aside saying, "You've ruined it for everyone now. You better bring the right money tomorrow." But this was the same supervisor who'd laughed at those racist jokes, the same man who'd watched me be humiliated and said nothing. So his words, they meant nothing. Not long after, I left that company. I couldn't stay in that toxic environment. But here's the beautiful part. The racist manager didn't last much longer either. The company let him resign to save face, but everyone knew the truth. He'd been sacked. And on his last day, he tried to play the big man. Bought food for the whole team, expected a handshake, maybe even a thank you. Me? I stayed in the workshop. Didn't touch a thing. Didn't say a word. He even walked over, telling me to behave myself. I didn't look at him. Didn't acknowledge him. Just kept working. Because silence, in that moment, spoke louder than anything I could have said. That bag of pennies may not sound like much, but for me